Hello, cinema-loving friends. Thank you for joining us at the 47th Seattle International Film Festival. My name is Dustin Kaspar, and I'm the Educational Programs Manager at SIFF, as well as a feature and short film programmer for the festival. And I'm delighted to be introducing the post-package Q&A for the FutureWave shorts. Talking. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that we live, work, and play on the traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples, specifically the Duwamish, Suquamish, and Muckleshoot tribes, and that we occupy this land. This acknowledgement does not take the place of authentic relationships with Indigenous communities, but serves as a first step in honoring the land we occupy and resisting the erasure of Indigenous past, present, and future. I encourage us all to turn this acknowledgement into action by supporting Indigenous communities financially if you are able, and through centering Indigenous voices in the films, art, and wider cultural conversations you engage. So I'm very happy that Dan Hudson and Amy Williams at the National Film Festival for Talented Youth have been an instrumental part of planning this post-screening engagement. And I'm delighted to get out of the way myself and pass the baton for this conversation to two nifty alums and film industry professionals, Natalie Jasmine Harris and Aaron Jin. Take it away, friends.
Okay, great. Hello. Welcome. We're so excited to have you all here. My name is Aaron Jin. I am 24 years old, calling in from Seattle. I use any pronouns, and I produced one short narrative at Nifty a couple years ago. I think that's all we're saying. Passing it to Natalie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm calling in from Laurel, Maryland on the East Coast. And I am a filmmaker. I write and direct, and I also produce. Most of my work centers around talking about identity and coming of age narratives, especially within the queer community. So I'm really excited to be here and ask you all questions about your films. So let's start by asking you all to introduce yourselves. We can start off with a live day. If you could say your name, your role in the film, the title of your film, your pronouns, and also where you're calling in from today.
Thank you, Natalie. My name's Lindsay O'Keefe. I just turned 18, April 1st. I'm calling in from Cleveland, Ohio, and the name of my film was A Live Day. And my role was, I was a director and editor and camera operator. And yeah, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for hosting this Q&A.
So hi, my name is Kayla Lee. I'm 18. I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area in California. I use she, her pronouns. My film title is called Ambivalent, and I created this project at a summer camp in 2019. I was the writer, and then I directed part of it, and then also edited it. I'm super excited to be here. I wanted to make a bunch of filmmaker friends, so it's really great to meet all of you.
Hi, my name is Chloe Campos, and my pronouns are she, her, and my film is titled Esperanza, and I wrote, directed, shot, and edited it.
Hi, my name is Galila McCon, and I'm calling in from Austin, Texas. I was the director, main character, editor, composer for the film In Time, and my pronouns are she, her.
Looking forward from yesterday.
I think
they're not here.
They aren't here, so Pi is next.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Miralane McCarthy. My film was called Pi. I wrote it, produced it, directed it, and I was there in the edit part. And my pronouns are he, him. Nice to meet you.
My name's Jackson Coates. I was for a really dark comedy. I wrote and acted in it, directed by my friend Manasi Ukadmathi, who could not be here today, and I've got he, him pronouns.
Hi everyone, my name is Caden Nathani. I wrote, directed, edited a lot of it and shot a lot of it, the film called Socially Distant. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm calling in from Dallas, Texas.
Hey everybody, I'm Victor, he, him pronouns, and I directed, shot, edited Sparring when I was 16. I'm 18 now, and yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, so wonderful to meet all of you. And so fun to hear all the different roles that you've played in your film. The joys of young independent filmmaking. We love it. Um, and so before we jump into the main questions, we wanted to kind of get a sense of like a sense of like who you are and like a roll call, if you will. So I'm going to ask you all to physically raise your hand in the screen if this applies to you. So would you please raise your hand if your FutureWave short was your first film? So do we have any first-time filmmakers in the program? Oh no, you are all experienced filmmakers. We love. Oh, Galila a little bit.
I'm sorry, the person who directed it, Monesi, that was her first film.
Oh, awesome. A really dark comedy. Cool. Okay, and then put your hands down. And second, please raise your hand if you plan to or want to continue pursuing film in the future. Awesome. That's everybody. And Natalie too, I think.
Oh yeah, me too. Definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, awesome. So it's really great to get a sense of, where you all are at basically in your filmmaking journey. So one thing that Aaron and I really loved about all of your films is how strong of a voice you all had. Whether your film kind of had a really interesting genre, or whether it touched upon important topics, I'm thinking about like a really dark comedy, that genre. I'm thinking about talking about mental health and ambivalent. Your films all seem to really have such strong creative styles too. A lot of you used animation or you had black and white imagery, and even some silent films as well. So I'm curious, how do you all define your voice as a filmmaker? Have you figured out how you would define your voice yet? So yeah, anyone can really start, or we can start with a live day.
I can start with the live day. So basically, my film is about a 17-year-old Paralympic swimmer who has no legs and one arm. And it's basically about her journey, learning how to swim and how far she's come since she was a baby. And this was my first documentary I've made. So in that sense, it was I had challenges with that, but it just made me learn a lot about Bree, who's the star, and I'm really close with her after the film was made. And I've discovered my passion for ending ableism in society today, which is defined as discrimination in favor of able-bodied people. And it's like, I want this term to be a lot of people don't really know about it, so I kind of want to bring awareness to what ableism is and how it affects people with physical, mental disabilities, everyone in the community. So I would love to return to this topic in my future and just spread more awareness about the disability community.
That's incredible. Yeah, we really need your voice to do that. Thank you.
About ambivalence. Oh, I'm sorry. About ambivalent. I'm actually, my background is more in documentary filmmaking. I've been a journalism student for the past 4 years, and this was my very first kind of narrative short film. It was shot on 16 millimeter, like actual film, so it was really out of my comfort zone. But I mean, I think as like young people and like social media, we all kind of have this internal conflict, whether it's anxiety or social anxiety. And I kind of wanted to manifest that in the film. And a lot of the projects I pursue are stuff that I find very personal. So more recently, I produced a documentary about lead poisoning in the Bay Area. And that was something when I researched it really hit me and it was really disturbing to me. And I thought I needed to take action and potentially push for any like legislative change. So both ambivalent and a lot of the projects that I create, I find my voice. Usually it hits me really personally. So those are how I decide to pursue certain projects.
Nice. Yeah, I'm very similar with that. I think it's really cool to tell personal stories that impact you, and you can see that passion in the film.
So my film was called Esperanza, and it's about immigration and some things that happen at the border that no one really knows about or talks about. And so I feel like I'm still developing my voice, but I tend to lean towards darker subjects that have really emotional impact and usually touch on topics that people don't really want to talk about but need to be talked about, and things to kind of like show different viewpoints of one topic and make sure that I'm trying to like create change through my films as well.
Amazing.
I think, first of all, I'd like to say everybody here is super cool. I mean, y'all's films are so awesome. What you're talking about is so cool. I can't say I figured out what my voice is yet. This is my first, I've been like taking film classes in high school for a while now and like working on film projects, but this is my first time really kind of directing my own vision in a film. And I have things that I'd like to express, but I'm not sure exactly what that is yet. I think I'm trying to figure that out through creating films, I'm not exactly sure I have that voice, and then like, I have something I want to say when I make a film. I feel like it's more, I'm figuring it out as I'm doing it. But I really admire y'all for like having something to say. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of, young independent filmmaking. Like Erin was saying, you get to really explore and figure out what it is that you want to talk about. So it's awesome, that you're letting yourself do that. So that's really great. And then Pi.
I think for me, my voice as a filmmaker, Pi is quite like an absurd film, but like I liked it was quite self-contained in just the time I had to tell that story. I think that was a good challenge when I was writing the script, but I don't know, similarly to Kayla, I don't know what my voice is when I'm going to be making new films. Just sort of what strikes my interest, like hobbies I have, media around me. I think everyone consumes media, so it's like just really things around me, the voice I have as a filmmaker.
Nice.
No problem.
I was just making sure I'm next up. I didn't want to be interrupting somebody. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to like put into words what I like to do in terms of like my own films, but I'm really inspired by like absurdism too. And like I really like blending mediums too. I don't think that's really, you can see that in a really dark comedy. It's kind of just like a normal film. But I'd like to like mess with like the format of film a little bit more. I don't know. I guess I'll figure it out too. We're pretty young.
Yeah, so you have so much time, honestly. And that's great.
Yeah,
and I
and
like how both of you have kind of similar themes. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the cool thing about life is that we're always gonna figure it out. We always get to redefine ourselves too as we learn more about ourselves and the world and keep creating. Okay, and next, socially distant, Kaden.
Yes. I think similar to many others' responses, I haven't really found my voice yet. I know that of all of the films that I make and all of the stories that I write are films that I really want to touch someone. I want that story to touch someone else like it touched me while I was writing it, while I was editing it, while I was watching the final version. And I think that one thing that's lost a lot in the mainstream is that these films are just really about self-expression, about what we feel inside. And I think especially with young filmmaking and all of the films that I've seen so far of everyone that's here in the Zoom call right now, is that it's really a good representation of what stories all of us want to hear and what we like. And so when we're writing a script, it's always going to be, the better the script is, the more the story connects with us deeply. We can never hammer out a script that's really not a great story that we don't feel touched by, but it's always something that connects with us.
Victor?
Yeah, I think that connection is so important, Caden. I feel, I guess with sparring, we sort of started off with, I guess it was my two friends who really wanted to fight each other. We had boxing gloves, and I guess we're following what, you know, the filmmaker Robert Rodriguez says. He says, you know, if you have a samurai sword, if you have a car, you got to use them. You got to use whatever like props that you have and then build a film around that. But then we started sort of interrogating like why we wanted to film, you know, just these two guys fighting each other. And I think as filmmakers, we have a social responsibility to understand that, you know, we're the people imagining how violence is viewed in society. And, you know, America has this preoccupation with fetishizing violence, especially in men. And I think a lot of sparring's, the stakes of sparring came from wanting to imagine a different possibility than shame always leading to violence and violence always leading to, you know, admiration and I guess the glee of filming violence.
Yeah, thank you all for sharing. I think it's awesome. I think we have a good mix too of people who they know, they kind of figured out like the message that they want to share, like, and their creative voice in terms of like what they care about. And we also have a number of people who talked about like technically or like artistically what inspires them and what pushes them to create. And I think both of those are equally important, you know. As Victor said, film and art, as filmmakers and artists, we kind of get to reflect society in a really intimate and personal way, and it's powerful. The what we're able to do. Um, okay, and the next question we had, so in kind of in the theme of like what we see ourselves doing, we wanted to ask you all if you had thought about what's next. Where do you see yourself in like 5 years from now? What does that 5-year plan look like? The big goal and like what you'll do to get there. It's a big question, but.
And you can also mention a little bit about where you are at now. You know, if you are graduating, if you're in school for film, for something else, if you're, I don't know, freelancing, whatever your path is right now.
Yeah, and I think Miro has his hand up.
Currently, I'm at college, but in the UK, that is, it's like the equivalent of high school for you guys, I think. In 5 years' time, I think I'm going to be ambitious. Say I'd like to see myself either making a feature or coming off the end of a feature. What that feature is, who it's with, I don't know yet, but just trust the process, just see where I end up. Yeah.
Chloe?
So I am currently in film school and I'm a freshman. I attend Dodge College at Chapman University. And so I am, for the next 4 years, going to be studying film and making films. But in 5 years, when I graduate, I hope to be working in the industry, at least having an internship. And along the way, I hope to have an internship by the summer and like just start getting to, even if I'm just giving the actors water, just being on set and like experiencing it, and then hopefully to make a feature as well in 5 years.
Lindsay?
Yeah, so I'm a senior right now in high school, and I'm going to NYU Tisch for film this fall. So I'm super excited to be in the city. And yeah, I think 5 years from now, I kind of agree with Chloe. I'm very open-minded, so I want to get my feet wet in kind of every area of film to figure out, what I'm most passionate about, and then just be on every set as possible, just do everything so I can experience it all. And yeah, hopefully either making a feature or helping someone make it. Just, anything related to film, I'll be happy.
Just a little plug. I graduated from NYU Tisch in May.
I know, I saw. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks. Oh yeah, I forgot our bios went out to all of you.
Okay, Victor.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of in a similar boat with you, Lindsay. I think the way things are shaping up, I will be headed to USC this fall for their School of Cinematic Arts. I do think I want to ask all of you about your experiences with film school, or I guess in your first year, or the things that factored into your decision in attending, because I really want to learn about the world and learn what I want to say before I study film.
Yes, Kaden.
So I'm not sure if I'll be doing anything with film in 5 years. Right now I'm a junior in high school, and I'm looking at actually going to university for engineering. So that's far from cinematics and everything related to that. But I definitely want to continue pursuing it as maybe a minor or just something that I do in my free time, because it's definitely an important part of my life and my self-expression.
Yeah. Yes, Galila. Galila.
Galila, it's cool.
Galila.
Yeah, I'm along the same lines as Victor. So I feel like for me, film is a mode of expression, the same way writing is, I think, the same way playing music is, so it's more of a language, like a tool, for me, rather than as like an end goal. Also, like Kaden, I'm a senior in high school right now, and I'm going to school for marine biology, which is like totally like different field. But and when I think about myself in 5 years, I think like to be completely honest, like I'm thinking like I really want a cat, and I want a really nice sunny kitchen with big windows. Like those are kind of like when I think about my future, it's like that. But I think in terms of film, I would like to be more fluid in how I can, connect my vision to my mediums in film, to be able to really fully express the things I want to express, the things that I see that I'm inspired by. And I would like to continue to meet talented filmmakers like y'all, because y'all are really cool. But yeah.
Okay, Kayla.
I like how you called filmmaking a tool, because for me, filmmaking is something that I find essential in my life. And even if I don't pursue, filmmaking as a career, it's something that I will always do, whether it's just montages with friends or short pieces. I guess currently, I actually don't know in 5 years. I think by then I'll be graduating college. I'm also a senior in high school. But currently, I guess my passion projects are in journalism. So I guess we have a couple projects lined up for now through the end before I graduate. But I guess it's really strange because Ambivalent was just so out of my comfort zone, and like narrative filmmaking was like the first time I'd ever done it. It was like first time I wrote a script. But with documentary filmmaking, I guess it's a little bit more comfortable. And throughout college, even if I didn't end up applying to film school because like cultural things in my family, but I do think I will join a film club and have some really cool filmmaker friends and be able to talk about movies and scripts. And I hope I can find that community in college, and maybe transfer, or I really don't know. Everything's kind of muddled, but I do see filmmaking as something that will be very important throughout my lifetime, whether it's working freelance or working for a news company. So
Yeah. And I wanted to say that like I feel like I have a crisis every half a year, like every 6 months, being like maybe I should have like got a real like a day job that paid more so I would have money to do this stuff later. Um, like I always like go back to it. I
I
even
really
applied for
feel that.
business school this year. Yeah. So random. Um, but I was going to double major in drama, theater, and like business, and I just ended up not majoring in business. So then I ended up with the drama degree. That was my journey. Um,
Yeah, I
but
can share a little bit about my journey too. I am kind of like 5 years after graduating high school. So, and I'm currently trying to make my first feature. It's an extension of a short film that I recently created while I was in film school. The journey is hard. I'm not gonna lie, to make your first feature, but I'm currently in the thick of it. So trying to do that. And I went to college at a local school in DC for my first year of college. And then I transferred to NYU to go study film full time and like more narrative and things like that. So kind of similar to all of you, like I knew that I wanted to talk about important things in my film, but I didn't really know what that was yet until I went to film school and just kind of like tried everything. I tried music videos, documentaries, writing, all of it until I really figured it out. I think now. So so it took me a little while, and I think that's totally normal. And so yeah, it's really beautiful, and hopefully one day you all can watch this video back 5 years from now and kind of have a little time capsule to say, you know, where you wanted to be and where you ended up. So it's great to say it out loud and to speak it into existence.
and I think we just have one more for this question, Jackson.
Yeah, I'm currently at DePaul University up in Chicago for film. And also, I forgot to mention this. I'm also too. I lived in Dallas. Like I grew up in Dallas too. Weirdest thing, Dylan Weand, your actor. He was in one of my like projects last year for Narc, and I just thought that was so weird seeing Dylan in like that film because I didn't
Really? I didn't even know that you were involved in
expect.
Narc. That was one of the reasons I picked him because I saw him in
Really?
Narc and I was like, yeah, he's got to be in it.
That's so funny. Okay, that's funny. I Yeah, Narc was like my previous film I made in like senior year. That's really funny. I don't know what I'm gonna be doing in 5 years. I'll definitely be making films. Uh, hopefully that they're good and stuff, and I can keep doing it. But I'll yeah, like Kayla said, I'm just gonna be making films probably throughout my life, even if it's not making me money and it's the career thing, just because like it just feels right and stuff. Uh, probably I probably want to think of Nifty as like the next film festival because during my high school years, my like goal was like all American the entire time, uh, and now like I think Nifty's like the new all American for us because we're past that. But yeah, I think that's probably my course. I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
Okay, and I think why I wanted to go back to Victor's question and maybe like have you all spread some wisdom among yourselves about like for people who are in film school right now, like what is something that you're learning about, like what's some advice you have or like something you've learned? Maybe Natalie, you can hop in at the end of it too.
Yeah.
Chloe?
So film school honestly changed my life so far. I'm only a freshman, but it's just so amazing being surrounded by people who are who have the same interest in you and always want to support you and are always down to do something creative. And I'm constantly on people's sets. I'm constantly helping people rewrite scripts, and it's amazing to just be immersed in that environment because it's so inspiring and it makes you more motivated to keep creating. And so when choosing a school, I feel like my best advice is to just, for me, I had to tour the school and I had to put myself in that environment and realize if I really wanted to be there, and also talking to people and understanding and learning about their experiences and how it got them to where they are post college was also really helpful. But honestly, you're going to be successful anywhere. It doesn't really, the name of your school doesn't really define you as a filmmaker. It really just depends on how much work you want to put into it, and that's how much you're going to get out of it.
Kayla?
I guess I can speak less of like about film school, but also like creating a community of people who love filmmaking. So I don't know if you guys know about the Bay Area, but it's like notorious for being a very like STEM heavy interest pool, I guess, and that's very reflective in my school. It took me a really long time to find people who are also similar minded and wanted to create projects and create films, and that was actually a huge struggle throughout high school. But I guess advice for people who are interested in filmmaking, and I totally remember rolling my eyes when I heard this because I was just like, of course you're going to say that, but it's just to make as many films as you want. Quantity, I guess, at the starting phase is important because each film you're going to gain a new set of skills. There's this concept called like excited accountability by a journalist called like Johnny Harris, and it's basically like dedicating yourselves to certain projects and committing. So you have to gain certain skills in order to complete that project. So that's something that I found pretty essential like throughout high school. But film school would be the dream, obviously. But I guess we'll see where life takes me, and then
I love that. One of my friends, he made a career also basically by taking projects he wasn't ready for. He's a music director right now in theater, and every time he learns it before he finishes the project. So now he has a bunch of new skills and a resume. Miro, I saw your hand up for the question.
Yeah, I think something that I've learned just like being on sets, being on film sets, and being around people that like consume film as their main medium. Network, firstly, like you never know like who you're talking to, where they're going to be in 5 years, like we're saying now. And secondly, protect your ideas. Like it sounds maybe a bit negative, but if you have a great idea, especially if you're a screenwriter, just like share that very closely with a couple people until it's like a very polished script, and then send out to the world really, because good ideas are gold, like worth their weight in gold, I think. Not too related to film school, but I think film school is definitely, if anyone out there is considering a film school, go for it. Like it's always great to be surrounded by people, because I forgot who said it, but I think Chloe, it's just great to be immersed in like an environment where everyone shares the same stuff, and like it's all like different interests, but at the same time it's all linked to film.
Kalila?
Yes, I had a question, because I hear kind of like two like different perspectives on film school. One of them is that, you know, it's so awesome to be immersed in a field like film, right, where you're with filmmakers and you get to be on sets and stuff like that, and it really helps you polish your stuff. Then the other perspective I hear is that, and I think Victor was talking about this earlier, it's that you need to build up experience in your life first in order to know what to express in your films. So like you should do film afterwards. And I wanted to know, especially for y'all who are in school, but also for Natalie too, like what is your opinion on that? Because I'm trying to figure that out myself.
Yeah, that's a great question. I have a lot of friends who were in the NYU graduate film school. So they were so they already had like an undergraduate degree, and they were kind of pursuing film after they had already been through a different career or after they finished undergrad. But yeah, I mean, I think that both are totally valid. And I don't really think there's a right answer in terms of like when it's a good time to go. It really just matters on you and what kind of path that you want for yourself. I will say though, it is cool to see people who have done other careers enter film because they have a really cool perspective sometimes. And I think like no matter if you go to film school right out of high school or if you wait a little while, you should definitely like still remember to be a human being and have experiences. You know, if you can travel, you know, fall in love, get your heart broken, just like have regular human experiences that you can talk about in your films, because I think those make you a really interesting storyteller. And I also wanted to say, kind of going off of Jackson, you brought up Nifty. Nifty is a great environment that you all can apply to for the film festival. And you can meet filmmakers who are like-minded and care about film without even going to film school. All you have to do is go to the festival or even go to it virtually. I think they're going to have a virtual component in sometime this year. So I think, you know, you can find community in school, but also at youth festivals, online, social media, and also right here, all of you, I think now you can go off and kind of create your own film community because you all are passionate and are super talented storytellers already. So there are multiple outlets that you can find besides film school.
Yeah. Oh, how about Lindsay and Miro? And I think, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Natalie. I think everyone has their own path, and something to keep in mind, like, I think often people get intimidated by like the prestige that comes along with saying I went to film school instead of, oh, I majored in film. Like my motto is, if you make films, you're a filmmaker. Like you don't have to have the background of, oh, I studied it for 4 years. Like, no, if you make films, you know, you are a filmmaker, even if it's not your main job or you're not making money off of it. Like if you're expressing yourself through this art form, you know, you are a filmmaker. So it's really easy to like get lost in, you know, competition or networking, like who you know, the popularity wise. So I think just, you know, live the way you want to live and just know that you are a filmmaker, even if you regret, you know, not going to film school. You still matter in the industry.
I wanted to ask, I think it's kind of changing the discourse, but just since I'm in a room, everyone's, you guys are all very bright. Like it's wonderful to see everyone's opinion. I just wanted to hear what everyone's like favorite film is. What film like kind of inspires you to make the films that you make?
Why don't we start from Caden?
Caden, yeah.
I'll say right now, I've been rewatching Black Klansman a lot, and I think it just shows Spike Lee's voice, like how it's changed over the years. It was like, I would say it's one of my favorite films right now.
Chloe?
I hate this question so much because it is just, the list is, I cannot order my list. But one of the first films that came into my head was Interstellar, just because I've watched it, I find something new that I love about it and something new that I didn't notice every single time I watch it. And Christopher Nolan's just amazing. And so definitely, yeah, that would definitely be and at least my top 5.
Jackson's hand popped up below.
My favorite movie is probably like because this question gets asked so much, I just like told myself like I need to get like one answer so I can just say it. It's probably Come and See, that one, because that one really affected me when I watched it. I really love like Adult Swim infomercials. I don't know if that's like a common thing that people watch, but like those are crazy. I love like Too Many Cooks. This house has people in it. I'll stop, but like those are crazy.
Oh, hopefully everyone who watches this is over 18. Lindsay?
So ironically, I love horror, and when I was a 12-year-old, I watched The Sixth Sense for the first time, and I don't want to spoil the ending, so I'm not going to say what happens. But basically, there's a huge twist ending at the end, and it just completely made me fall in love with film. I was like, how can you like take this person on a journey and then change the whole like? It was just crazy to me. So I loved horror. I actually like made like short horror films like for years, and then I've turned to documentary this year, and I've gotten more like mature about my topics. But for a while I would just like make goofy horror movies or like have these props. So yeah, you wouldn't really see a little 12-year-old innocent girl making like bloody like chopping heads off, but that was who I was. So
No, I second the Adult Swim. I really feel like uh, almost everyone has this Adult Swim phase where they see what unedited footage of a bear and they're like, "This is the coolest thing ever to exist." I can probably chalk up one of my major failures. It was like I had all these members of my high school drama department come and we made like a fake lockdown drill video, except they'd turn around and see like themselves in the same video, like playing on loop behind them, except with each like successive iteration, a slasher like monster zombie guy would get closer. And it was super meta and super ambitious, but it didn't quite pan out. And I guess it was a learning experience for sure.
I'm like Chloe. I hate this question because I feel like one, I don't have a favorite film, and two, I feel like every time I say it, people are gonna judge. But I think my favorite like cartoon is like probably like Ratatouille. Like it's just a classic, so wholesome, wonderful storytelling, great characters with a lot of nuance. But my favorite documentary and one that really stuck with me was Free Solo about Alex Honnold. So it won an Oscar. I watched it probably 2 or 3 times while on an airplane. So yeah, that's my favorite documentary.
That was everybody? Oh, Galila.
I think Galila.
I hate this question. Because I need to come up with an answer like Jackson, because like if you ask me like point blank with it's not going to be like some like great film. I don't know. Films that I watch over and over again are like Studio Ghibli films, right? Like Miyazaki films, Takahata films. They're really, because they're my childhood films, and I love their characters. I think I really like whimsical films, like films that like, there's this one really good Studio Ghibli film called Only Yesterday by Takahata, and it's like, it's so good. That's probably my favorite film right now. I like rewatched it 3 times this year. But yeah, nothing like, yeah, I don't, yeah, I think I need to build up more of like my like film buff watch list. So if anybody has any recommendations, I'll take them. But yeah, that's currently my favorite.
Miro might have some, and then we'll close out with ours with Aaron and
I would recommend everyone watches Judging the Crowd, maybe like Midnight Cowboy. Really beautiful film. I love it, the way it's shot, the way it tells the story as well, like in fragments. Really beautiful technique. And if you're feeling a bit more adventurous, a French film called La Haine. I really enjoyed that film. Probably my favorite film of all time. Yeah, a lovely like self-contained story in like a day. But so much happens in that day, and the way like it's shot is just super beautiful.
This Midnight Cowboy, that is a beautiful movie. Especially, and the soundtrack, I listen to it like it's country, but it's really beautiful. So
yeah, those are definitely two classics. Aaron, if you want to share yours.
Yeah, I think the one that I go to, my answer for it is this Bollywood film, Three Idiots. It has like It's the only Bollywood film I've ever watched, but it's my favorite movie. It's about three kids in college who are like in this engineering college, and this one person teaches this other two, his friends, to like pursue his passion. And it has like musical numbers, it has like the comedy, it has like the weird, ridiculous love story. It's got everything. This, and this. So that's my answer.
Nice. Mine kind of always changes, but right now I'd say Celine Sciamma's Portrait of a Lady on Fire is probably my favorite film, and I'm really excited for her next film, which is I think coming out this year. So she's definitely one of my top filmmakers next to Barry Jenkins, but everyone loves him. But yeah, it was so beautiful to hear all of your favorite films, and that was a great question, Miro.
Yeah, I just wanted to say like on the since we're all like in a place where we're like, what's the future right now? I feel like I always remind myself of like I always like to look at people who started their career later than in their life. Like I look at Conrad Nakamura, who majored in something, and then he just like did like random theater. And then like when he was 30, he went to get his MFA, and then he like that's how he started his Broadway career. And I think something I'm gonna like out my boyfriend, he's like a little older than I am. He's like 44. But he said to me yesterday, he was like, the thing I wish I never learned was that you can make money in a day job. Because he like was doing his day job because he thought like that's what he needed to do to like earn money and pay the bills. Um, and then he quit to do acting school to get his MFA in the UK, and he was the happiest he had ever been. Like he was like, I wish I never knew that I could make money to the day job, because then I would have done this artist thing like a whole lot earlier. um, so hopefully that I don't know. That's something I have to remind myself to. That's something I deal with to ask myself. Like you don't need as much money as you think to live, like pay the bills, pay rent, pay food, and then make do your own stuff. Um, and then everyone has their own journey to get to where they are. And sometimes things are just right for you when it's right for you and not before then. So, any other last parting words, Natalie?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate how talented you all are. And I hope that you're all really proud of yourself for, just being a part of this festival is incredible. And follow your passions and try to stay in touch. I think that we will send around contact info afterwards because it's important to network with people who are maybe above you or older than you, but also just your counterparts and peers are like the people who you're really going to be working with the most. So just try to remember that and celebrate yourself, and just keep going.